Last year's Walt Disney Company annual shareholders meeting was a disaster for Bob Iger. It looks like Disney might be looking to avoid that this year by pre-selecting questions. Let's talk about that on That Park Place. Hello, I am Jonas J. Campbell, an investigative reporter for That Park Place, and I am here with one of my favorite business consultants, Mexican Iron Man. How are you doing this morning, Mike?
Well, it's been a rough week for us Star Wars fans and us Disney investors, but, you know, I'm here and happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
I'm so glad you are here, and may Star Wars rest in peace. We keep thinking that it can't get any more inactive or, well, dead, but they keep finding new levels to go to there. But in the meantime, we want to talk about the annual shareholders meeting. Just very quickly, less than 60 seconds altogether. You were on the annual shareholders meeting call with Valiant Renegade about this time last year, right?
Oh, of course.
How many times did Bob Iger get confronted with questions that he obviously was not prepared to answer?
I'd say about 60 to 80% of the questions. I didn't keep a count, but I think he was only ready for, well, I know 2 for sure, maybe 3 or 4. The rest, not so much.
Yeah, there were shareholder proposals and things like that where they kind of brought up ties to China. I think somebody actually used the word woke on the call, which I don't think Bob Iger was prepared for that. That's the first time on an earnings call that he got confronted with that one. And someone was asking about Disney Plus content and then switched the question to be about, shouldn't it be time to get away from these kinds of messages in kids' films? Well, it seems like there might be a strategy to try to get away from that this year. This is the Vote Disney website. We follow it religiously here because it's a new website. Usually when a company like the Walt Disney Company puts together their proxy filings and their solicitations or whatever to shareholders, they put them on the regular shareholders website. But with this particular campaign, they're very focused. They want to market this more than they did in the past. They want to not just bring you the data. In fact, you could say that they might be avoiding data on this. And they want to go for, you know, this cartoon duck here that's trying to tell you who to vote for in this proxy contest, or these really long presentations that kind of maybe a little sleight of hand here. There's all these great little shots that are playing up here. I don't know why they're not full screen. Disney, you might want to get on that. But this morning, there was something that I saw here that I knew that I had to talk to my good friend Mike about. This right here, pre-register and submit a question now for the annual meeting.
Oh, for God's sake.
Yeah. Annual meeting of shareholders will be held virtually on April 3rd, 2024. Pre-register to attend and submit a question in advance by selecting submit a question. And if you do that, I've already clicked the button. If you go over here, it asks you for your control number or if you have an account to do that. Mike, why do you think that they're doing this way? I have some theories, but I wanted to ask you because you're a genius.
Well, I don't know about being a genius. Thanks for the compliment. Well, number one, I think they want the people who ask questions to register so they can vet them.
I think that's very true.
I would not sign up for this, and I definitely wouldn't put that my first name is Mexican and my last name's Iron Man, because it'd take all of 2 seconds for them to figure out where I'm at. In fact, I can't even put my real name because I've never worried about being doxxed. So looks like they want to self-select questions. They want to vet who's asking the questions. They also want to prep their answers. And by the fact that this whole thing's being done virtually, which is something that the International Association of Security Corps, the ISC, and others have allowed, they're afraid of someone like me showing up and in a real town hall annual shareholder meeting a la Wall Street, you know, the movie back from the 80s style. It's virtual, it's online, and they don't want any live questions, and they want to know who's going to ask them, and they want to know what they are. Boy, it almost sounds like they're not a transparent company that's willing to be accountable to the shareholders. That's what it sounds like to me, and this doesn't make me very happy. This makes me very angry.
It would to me as well if I personally held any Disney shares. I might have some through a mutual fund. In fact, I need to go check on that myself. So about 10 years ago, there was well, I want to say that about 20 years ago, there was a more contested annual shareholders meeting, the one where Eisner ended up stepping down because there were like 43% of shareholders that ended up voting against him on one issue or another. But that one was definitely held in person. And I have to think that if there's footage of that out there, that would look very bad for the company. And right now, with their glitz and their glamour, I would imagine a long line of people that want to be heard by this company that seems to be ignoring them. That's an image they want to avoid getting out there.
Oh yeah, I mean, I've known that it was going to be virtual for a while, but in my mind, if I was, I was hoping this company post COVID would go to doing in person meetings and shareholder events, but obviously that hasn't happened. It's not going to happen, and this isn't even a true virtual meeting. This is going to be a show. They're going to decide. They're going to literally decide who gets to ask a question, what question they want to answer. They're going to have their responses canned, and they're basically putting on a show. This is not going to be a real annual shareholder meeting. This is going to be a joke, a farce, and a High School Musical directed by our favorite weatherman, my favorite weatherman, Bob Iger.
At least they could have brought back Kenny Ortega to do it. The thing that I'm most disappointed at here is the idea that they could pre-record this entire annual shareholders meeting, and if they get to self-select their questions, then no real questions will be answered here. Or and the best we can do is analyze what's going on. Do you think the question of Nelson Peltz is really going to come up past that initial portion?
I don't think the question will come up. You mean the initial portion where they do the board of directors recognize the votes and stuff like that?
Yeah, I think they're gonna, whether it's proposals first or voting to keep the board members in. I think they're just gonna rush past that as quickly as possible, especially if Peltz and Rasulo don't get in. And then they'll this is going to be nice and tidy, and they're going to pat themselves on the back. And they'll talk about how they fixed the creative engine, and they will try very hard to move on and pretend like nothing is a problem at the Walt Disney Company right now.
I gotta tell you, I'm being really cool because this is your channel, but this is pretty infuriating.
Oh, I'm pretty angry myself. I would like to see
I'm really angry. I'm really this is a company that doesn't, not only do they not want anyone from the outside on the board, they don't even want people that own the stock to ask real questions and get some accountability from the guy who's in charge of 180 billion. Look, I'm a small player. I got I think like 189, something like, I don't know. It's less than 200 shares. So I'm not a big player at all, but this is pretty infuriating. And I was looking forward to it. Now the only thing I have to look forward to is what kind of production that they're going to put together, because I'm not going to get any real answers at all.
Yeah, it disturbs me for what might happen with the stock price as well, because it doesn't seem to be tied to any real metric on value delivered. It seems like the only value they want to deliver is some kind of PR value, because I think we're wrapping up here as I say this. The movies, not very good. They have an ideological problem within the company. If they're trying to fix that problem now, everything seems like it's rushed to get it out the door as quickly as possible, and that does not work well for movies. The parks are over-earning, as has been correctly pointed out by Nelson Peltz. They're making too much money in the parks, and they are addicted to Genie Plus and all these overcharging features. So I don't see anything being fixed there. ESPN, after this conversation that Jimmy Pitaro had with CNBC, I see the writing on the wall with ESPN that thing is not going to be as profitable as it has been in the past. That is another unit in decline, and Disney Plus has yet to make a profit. It will make a profit, I think, by the end of this year, but not because they're delivering growth. So I'm concerned here. Mike, before we go, do you have anything else you want to say?
Hashtag dang it, Bob. It's another disappointing day as a investor with the Walt Disney Company, and I think I'm really disappointed, Jonas. I got to tell you, this is not the news I wanted to wake up to. It also explains why I couldn't get a QR code. I asked my broker to look into it, and this explains a lot.
Yeah.
So,
well, it could be worse. I could have brought you in for all the Star Wars news that's coming out. But that being said, thank you so much for being here. Everyone else out there, like this video if you like this video. Even if you don't like the news, if you appreciate understanding what's going on, the like button helps us to be pushed up in the algorithm. It's been an interesting month here between me and WDW Pro. Of course, if you have a comment here, I would imagine that you do. Go ahead and leave that below. I love to read the comments. And of course, consider subscribing to That Park Place for all the news that should be fun.
Thanks for watching That Park Place News. For more information, consider checking out www.thatparkplace.com. And don't forget to subscribe, share, like, and send this out on your favorite social media account.